Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan once more with you from my very own channel Astro Assurance. I had made a video on the Ashtak Varga a few days back and I had promised that I'll come back with a second following up video on Ashtak Varga. The first video that I made was on what the Ashtak Varga is, how the whole chart is made, and to an extent I had given a snapshot of how it can be used to look at life's different results, specifically from a transit point of view, because the Ashtak Varga approach is to see the transit of planets from each other, from itself, and also from the ascendant, and based on that, when they are transiting from specific placements in the natal chart, in the transit from that planet, whether the result is going to be benefic or not benefic. So that's how the Ashtak Varga is, the table is made and is also put into effect. Now, before making the second video, which is a detailed video on how to apply the Ashtak Varga, I wanted to use this to talk a little bit more about what could be the challenges and the fallacies of using the Ashtak Varga wrong, misinterpretation of the Ashtak Varga, and applying that in a unique sense without looking at if there are any validation things that you need to validate what the Ashtak Varga is saying or putting forth. And I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube, and one of the reasons I've started my own channel is because I've seen that sometimes an astrologer gets too carried away with a topic. If he is talking about the Upapada Lagna, he will say everything is the Upapada Lagna and you should see relationships only from the Upapada Lagna. If you are talking about Arudha Lagna, then it becomes as if there is nothing more important than the Arudha Lagna. Then if they talk about Hindu Lagna, they are talking only about the Hindu Lagna and how it is the most important thing, and so on. Now this is a very dangerous approach to astrology, because what happens is that no chart, no divisional chart by itself is a foolproof mechanism to look at astrological interpretations and results, because many times there may be various errors in your interpretation of that. And if it goes against the very essence of the Lagna chart, then you should be very careful of whether you want to run with it. For example, a planet which is debilitated in the Lagna chart can never be exalted in the Navamsha, and I've said this in many of my videos before. If you make 10 pieces of a cake, then the 10th piece also remains a cake, the second piece also remains a cake, the fourth piece also remains a cake. What part of the cake it is, whether you have got the center piece or cherry or the corner which has less cream, it's a different ball game altogether. So you may get some more cream somewhere, you may get a cherry somewhere, you may get a chocolate somewhere, you may get a waffle somewhere, but the rest of it remains the cake only, which means there may be slight difference between what the Lagna chart is saying and what the divisional chart is saying, but you cannot completely set aside the Lagna chart and come out with a complete different interpretation from the divisional chart or a different Lagna or the Ashtak Varga and say this is what it is, this is the final write-off from the zodiac, and this is most important. The moment you do it, then you will find that there are challenges. So please don't look at anything as the be it and end all, and this is how it is and this is the final thing, and if I do use this particular approach, then it is a guaranteed approach. Don't do that. The challenge of that, specifically also using the Ashtak Varga, is that if you find very high points in the 10th house, in the Ashtak Varga table, and high points with overall transits going over it, and assume that generally you will get good results in your career, then you may not put in the required effort, or you may put in the required effort in the wrong direction, assuming that the 10th house seems to be very strong because of the Ashtak Varga points. However, there may be a debilitated planet placed there, there may be negative aspects on it also. So you cannot ignore bad yogas like Vish Yoga or Strapit Dosha or Angakarak Dosha in the 10th house just by assuming because the Ashtak Varga points are high, so you will get good results. That's a very dangerous and a fatal error you may make in interpretation of various approaches, different approaches to astrology, including the Ashtak Varga. And that's why I'm doing this video before I come with how to apply the Ashtak Varga table and how to interpret results, which will come after this, because I wanted to put this video first explaining to you how Ashtak Varga can go wrong, where it can go wrong, and then do the following up video, because otherwise this video would be too long if I do both of them. One of the things which I have a different approach to astrology, because I don't look at astrology only from a materialistic perspective of money and gains and success, but I also have a very Sufi perspective, which Sufism, you know, one branch of Islam which moves away from the fundamental nature of some of the interpretation that people may have. Sufism is more about love. It's about giving respect to all religions. It is lakum deenukum waliya deen, as it is said in the Quran, which means that to you your religion is dear, to me mine. Yet another verse from the Quran says we made you in different tribes so that you could better understand from each other. So I have a very analytical approach to astrology, and I have a deeper perspective, and I have almost like a Virgo perspective on astrology, and that's why my interpretation sometimes is slightly different from maybe the others. But you will find that I will never give you guaranteed things that this is the best and end all, but I will always give you a disclaimer. I will always warn you where it could go wrong. And before I jump into the Ashtak Varga explanation, please don't depend on astrology completely or even to a large extent in life. Use astrology more as a guide. Your effort, your behavior, your karma, your good deeds, your good approach, your principles and values in life, your good treatment of different relations in your life are the primary objective of your life, and through that good karma you elevate yourself. And if you do that, you will also get good material benefits in this life, and you don't need to completely follow astrology except more as a guide and only as a validation and a support to your own attitude, to your own behavior, on your own karma. So let's look at the Ashtak Varga table and understand where the Ashtak Varga table's interpretation could go wrong for us, and where it could become a roadblock for us rather than being a supporting tool. I had given the example of a person, Alexander, in my last video on Ashtak Varga, and explained a bit about his Ashtak Varga table. I'm bringing it up again so that we can do a deeper analysis of the fallacies of not reading the Ashtak Varga right and where we could go wrong. The person Alexander is born on 2nd of March 1970 at 4 p.m. in Telangana, India. Telangana was earlier a part of Andhra Pradesh, but since a few years it is now a separate state called Telangana. Now if you see his birth chart here, his birth chart is a Cancer ascendant with Ketu placed in the second house in Leo, and Mars and Saturn in the 10th house, where Saturn is debilitated and in a niche bhag with Mars. Jupiter is retrograde and in Libra. Moon is in the 6th house in Sagittarius in the Moola Nakshatra. Mercury, Sun, Rahu and Venus are in the 8th house, where Sun is eclipsed by Rahu and Mercury is combusted by Sun. So this is an overall placement where Saturn is the 7th lord of relationships and also the 8th lord of long life. Mars is in a Ruchak Mahapurush Yoga in the 10th house with high directional strength also. Now when you tabulate the placement basis Ashtak Varga of how each of the planet is giving benefit points when in transit from the other, then for the Sun, when it is transiting in various signs from different planets all put together, you arrive at this score. For a more detailed version of how you come up with these points, I will give the link of my earlier video that I made on Ashtak Varga. You can see that first, and when you come back to this video, you will be able to understand this particular chart well, because I have also explained this chart in a more detailed version, how you come to this table also in a detailed fashion there. So please see that video if you are not able to explain what this is. However, when you make your own chart and if you get such a Ashtak Varga table, then this video is sufficient for you to understand the wrong approach that we may take looking only at the Ashtak Varga chart and where we can go wrong. So the Sun's placement, if you see from when it transits into the first sign from with respect to various planets, gives its 4 benefic points. So that means whenever Sun is transiting over Aries, it will be giving 4 benefic points. Now Sun gets exalted in Aries, so it is pretty high score. But if you see, Sun is giving very high points and higher points when it is translating over its debilitation sign of Libra. It is giving 6 benefit points, and over its exaltation sign it is giving only 4 points. So where is Sun's transit over the 7th house? So, over the 7th sign is Libra in the 4th house. So when Sun is going to transit over the 4th house over Libra, its debilitation sign, it is going to give very high score of 6 points or 6 benefic points according to the Ashtak Varga score. And when it transits over a friendly sign such as Pisces, it gives a least score of just 2 benefic points. So this is an anomaly because Sun is giving the highest benefic points when it is translating over its debilitation sign of Libra, and giving the least points when it is translating over a friendly sign such as Pisces. And Sun is giving very strong points even when it is translating over its arch nemesis signs of Capricorn and Aquarius, giving 4 and 5 benefic points respectively, which is very, very high. So this, by just virtue of this, if you assume that Sun whenever it transits over Capricorn and Aquarius and Libra will give you fantastic results based only on the Ashtak Varga table, then it may be a wrong thing, because Sun is getting debilitated when it is going over Libra sign. However, benefic points given here are high. Secondly, when you look at Mars translating over its own sign of Aries is given high points of 5, which is understandable. However, Mars translating over its exaltation sign of Capricorn is giving only 3 points. However, Mars translating over its debilitation sign of Cancer is giving you 7 benefic points. This is again an anomaly, because it is not taking into account the debilitation or exaltation or the Mool Trikon sign or of unfriendly or inimical sign to the planet, but it is only taking the transition of Mars from in perspective to how far it is translating from another one. And many other such anomalies you can see. For example, Jupiter translating over its debilitation sign of Capricorn is giving it a high score of 4 marks. However, Jupiter transiting over its exaltation sign of Cancer gives it 5 marks. So the difference is just 1 point between its debilitation sign transit and its exaltation sign transit. And when you tally all the scores below, you will find that the 8th house, which has Aquarius sign, which is here, is giving 31 benefic points, though Sun is eclipsed here. 2 benefic planets, Mercury and Venus, are in the 8th house, and both are malefic to the ascendant, which is Cancer. So in a way, 4 malefics are present in the 8th house. So 8th house giving, which is the 11th sign, giving very high score of 31, has to be looked out deeper rather than assuming it is giving a high score and it's giving good results. Though money will surely come in from here, but huge upheavals, obstacles, issues, challenges will also come for this individual related to the 8th house. And then the 9th sign, which is Sagittarius, Moon, which is the Lagna Lord, has gone into the Sagittarius sign, but in the Moola Nakshatra, which means rising like a phoenix after destruction, which means the highest score is given to the 9th sign of the 6th house. So the person's service will surely be related to the 6th house and related to spirituality of Sagittarius. However, disease and obstacles and being in high debts and being high loans and sometimes failing in competition, failing in competitive exams will also be a reality for that individual. So overall, the Ashtak Varga points may give only one perspective and not the other one. Because when you plot these marks in these houses, you will see that the 10th house is giving a very high score of 28, but the higher score is in the 11th house over Taurus sign, which is giving 31 marks. So this person will have quite good gains. However, his earnings, because of only 26 points in the 2nd house where Ketu is placed in the birth chart, will definitely make his earnings and savings go through upheavals, obstacles and huge ups and downs. However, it will still be a benefic result from society. However, there will also be downfalls in career every now and then, because the 10th house is occupied by a debilitated Saturn. So teamwork for this person, which 7th house represents, will definitely be a challenge. So if you only look at high scores, because the 6th house as 37, which also stands for teamwork and working with colleagues, without taking into account that the 7th house, which also reminisces the teamwork, and that planet is debilitated, then only using Ashtak Varga scores will be a fallacy. Now let's take the example of a person who was born on 5th June 1983 at 4:15 p.m. in a town Miraj, which lies in Maharashtra in India. So here the Lagna chart of the person is given below, with Saturn in exaltation sign in the Lagna, Jupiter in the 2nd house in Scorpio, Ketu in the 3rd house in Sagittarius, Moon in the 6th house in Pisces, Mercury in Aries in the 7th house, Mars and Sun in the 8th house in Taurus, Rahu in Gemini in the 9th house, Venus in the 10th house in Cancer sign. This is the Lagna chart. Now when you are plotting the Ashtak Varga for this person, you will find that the Ashtak Varga points are all given here. Under Aries, transits of all put together give you 21 points, over Taurus 27 points, over Gemini 28 points, over Cancer 24, over Leo 38, and so on till you go to Pisces sign. Now let's change the date of birth, time, and come out with a different chart for another horoscope. The first one was this: 5th June 1983, 4:15 p.m. Miraj, India. Now when you change it to the location, you change to London. Now you are changing the location to London. Rest of it is the same. 5th June remains the same, 1983 remains the same, birth time remains the same. You are just changing the location, London. Now when you compare the last one and that Ashtak Varga score to this, you will find, in spite of changing the location, the chart, the Lagna chart remains the same, and the Ashtak Varga chart remains exactly the same. So are we saying that a person who is born in Miraj in Maharashtra in India has the same Ashtak Varga points for another person born in London at the same time? So this is an anomaly, because this person born in Miraj 21, 27, 28, 24, 38 points has exactly the same Ashtak Varga score as this person who is born on the same date, same time, but in a different city in London. Now let's change that to another time. Now we are increasing the time by 1 hour while keeping the date of birth the same, which is 6th June 1983, and the location also the same. By adding 1 hour to the birth time, the interpretation should be very, very different, because even a few minutes difference when you are not correct to the last minute, we know that the divisional charts are different. However, here we have changed the birth timing by 1 hour. In spite of changing the time by 1 hour, you will see that the Lagna chart remains the same and the Ashtak Varga remains exactly the same as the last one. Here, because the ascendant has not changed, because the ascendant changes every 2 hours. By changing the ascendant by 1 hour, the Lagna will remain the same and the Ashtak Varga points will remain the same, though the divisional charts will be different. Now if you don't take into account the divisional charts and you go only by the Ashtak Varga score, which is not different for even a 1 hour difference or one city difference which is across the world, then it is going to be a challenge. Now let's bring another change to this by changing the date itself. So right now, instead of taking 5th June, we are taking 6th June 1983 and keeping the time as 1 hour extra that we gave over the last one. The 5th June time we are taken as 4:15, then we change it to 5:15. Now we are keeping the same time 5:15, but we are changing the entire date by 1 day. Instead of 5th June, now we are taking 6th June. Again we have the same Lagna, because the Lagna changes every 2 hours, but the same Lagna comes back on the same time the next day. So the Lagna has come back after a day and the Ashtak Varga points are exactly the same, though the location remains same. So here we added an hour and we added another day, yet the Ashtak Varga chart is absolutely the same. to make it sure that if you have not followed it, I am bringing all the charts in one table. So this is the Ashtak Varga table of each one of the people. If you see, this person is born on 5th June 1983, 1650, that is 4:15 Miraj. Then we have changed the location. Instead of Miraj, we have used London. And if you compare the Ashtak Varga scores, the total scores below, or any column, if you see, they are exactly the same. Then we keep the same date, but we change the hour by 1 and we bring the date, the location back to Miraj. Again, if you look at the Ashtak Varga table, it is exactly the same for each of the columns, each of the rows. And then we change the entire date by 1 day. And we have changed from the original 1 hour, we have made extra, added that extra hour, and we have added a day also. Instead of 5th June, which we are using for the first 3, now we have changed by 1 day. Yet if you see the Ashtak Varga chart is exactly the same. I will let you take some time to look at the Ashtak Varga tables of each one of them. You can take a screen capture or you may freeze the video here and look at the Ashtak Varga chart for all of the 4 columns and each row exactly the same. Now what are we saying? Are we saying that if you look at the number of children which are born at any given second, any given point of time, and if you calculate within an hour how many children are being born, so every hour there are about 10,000 babies being born around the world every hour. That means in 2 hours that a Lagna remains the same, in those 2 hours 20,000 babies will be born. And if in spite of changing the date by the ascendant remaining the same the second day, again over this 2 hours, again if you take into account 20,000 more babies being born, that means total 40,000 babies born at that time will have the exact same Lagna and exact same Ashtak Varga chart. Are we saying, if we go only by the Ashtak Varga table, that the results of all those 40,000 babies will be exactly the same during their transits, for their careers, for their relationships, for how they work in teams, for the children, everything will be exactly the same? If you depend only on the Ashtak Varga, then it will be a wrong way to interpret it. It will be a wrong approach, because the divisional charts for each of these 4 people will be very, very different. And so it is important that you don't look at only the Ashtak Varga table, but you also take into account the divisional charts and the degrees of the planets, because if the degrees of the planets are certainly changing between 4:15 p.m. on one day and 7:15 p.m. the same day, and of course a huge difference on the following day, which is 6th June. The Ashtak Varga table does not take into account the divisional charts, does not take into account the exaltation or debilitation of planets, does not take into account doshas or yogas, does not take into account aspects impacting the overall dissemination of the chart. So keep in mind that there will always be issues, there will also be challenges based on how the Ashtak Varga table is interpreted, and if it's not interpreted right, then there may be a problem. Earlier we saw the example for Alexander, who was born in Telangana. These are 4 different charts having similar results irrespective of degrees, doshas, yogas, divisional charts. The other thing is errors in the yoga's interpretation. For example, from moon, Jupiter is benefic in the 2nd house, 5th house, 7th, 9th, 11th positions. That means according to Ashtak Varga approach, Jupiter in the 1st house with moon is not benefic. However, the same Ashtak Varga table approach says Jupiter from Jupiter, moon is benefic in the 1st house, 4th house, 7th, 8th, 10th, 11th and 12th position. If from Jupiter, moon in the 1st house is benefic, it means that Jupiter and moon are together. So moon is benefic when they are together. How can Jupiter not be benefic when they are together? Because Jupiter in the 1st house from moon is not giving benefic points. How is it possible that moon gives benefic point but Jupiter doesn't? even if we assume yes, it is possible, then what happens to the very strong Gajakesari Yoga? We know that Gajakesari Yoga is when Jupiter and Moon are together in conjunction or in Kendra to each other. So according to the Ashtak Varga for Jupiter, when Jupiter is in the second house from Moon, it is benefic, but it is not benefic in the first house or with Moon. But here it says with Moon, with Jupiter, Moon is benefic. Second thing is, Moon is benefic in the 1st, 4th, 7th and 10th houses, which are Kendra to each other. However, Jupiter is not benefic in the first house, which is a Kendra position, and in the 10th house, which 10th is missing here. So it says Jupiter is not benefic in the 10th house from the Moon, though it is in Kendra and it is forming a Gajakesari Yoga. How is it possible that if Jupiter is in the Lagna and if Moon is in the 10th house, then Moon is benefic because Moon is benefic in the 10th house from Jupiter, but Jupiter is 4th from the Moon if Moon is in the 10th house, but the 4th position of Jupiter from Moon is not given. So if Jupiter is in the Lagna and Moon is in the 10th house, Moon is giving benefic points, but Jupiter is not giving benefic points in spite of this position also being a Gajakesari Yoga. So if you look at it from only the Ashtak Varga point of view, looking at the points, you will make a wrong interpretation. So complete dependency on Ashtak Varga is a fallacy. The other thing is, if you look at the yogas, another Raj Yoga like the Dhurdhura Yoga. The Dhurdhura Yoga is formed when you have benefic planets on either side of the Moon or any planets on either side of the Moon, but it is stronger when you have benefic planets on either side of the Moon. Here it is said that Moon in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, 9th and 10th and 11 signs counted from Moon, from Venus is benefic. However, from the Moon, Venus is benefic in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 8th, 9th, 11th and 12th signs. So Venus is stronger in the 12th from the Moon, however Moon is not strong in the 12th from Venus. Now if you have two planets on either side of the Moon, then the Dhurdhura Yoga is formed. However, based on the interpretation, Jupiter is not benefic in the 12th position from the Moon. So if Jupiter is in the 12th house from the Moon, which is one house before, and Venus in the 2nd house from the Moon, then it is definitely a good strong yoga. But if you interchange the position of Jupiter and Venus, with Jupiter being in the 12th from the Moon and Venus being in the 2nd position from the Moon, then it is not a strong Dhurdhura Yoga, because now Jupiter and Venus are not benefic anymore. The Dhurdhura Yoga is then becomes weaker just by interchanging the placement of Jupiter and Venus, which are either side of the Moon, in the 12th house from it and the 2nd house from it. The approach of Ashtak Varga is not also good to interpret yogas, and therefore care should be taken how you are interpreting the Ashtak Varga table and how you are implementing it and how you are applying it. So friends, look at the Ashtak Varga as a guiding tool, because now we saw that there are challenges in interpreting the Ashtak Varga without keeping in mind the debilitation signs, without keeping in mind the divisional charts, without keeping in mind the degrees, without keeping in mind the good aspects or the bad aspects, the malefic aspects, malefic conjunctions, and also looking at some of the yogas, good auspicious yogas which are formed, the Raj yogas which are formed, which from Ashtak Varga point of view will then may not be so benefic. So please, whenever you look at any approach to astrology, whether it is about any specific lagnas, special lagnas, or using nakshatras or using the Ashtak Varga table, always the golden rule, fall back on the lagna chart always. And if the lagna chart is saying something diametrically opposite from any of the other approaches to astrology, then rethink whether that interpretation is right. The Lagna chart is the most powerful approach, and everything else should validate what the Lagna chart is saying and not should be counter to it. If anything is being counter to the Lagna chart because of its position in the Navamsha, or position in the D10, or position in the Ashtakvarga table, then you need to look at them combined results rather than anything as a standalone results. So friends, I'm going to come back with a video about how to actually use the Ashtakvarga and how to use it in conjunction with yogas, with doshas, and also how to look at it from the divisional charts, and also where to see and how to use the high points or low points in conjunction with or in line with the placements in the Lagna chart, and so that you are reducing the errors in implementing the Ashtakvarga points related to the transits and to the Dasha periods. So friends, look into your own Ashtakvarga tables and see whether you are making any mistakes in interpretation, and also see whether wherever the house is giving high points because of a transit of a planet, you actually got good results or not. So Saturn has been in Capricorn since almost 9 months now, since the start of this year from January. So wherever Saturn is transiting in your Lagna in Capricorn, but whichever house it is, and basis how much points Saturn's transit over Capricorn is giving, see for yourself and check for yourself whether the last 9 months have been good for you, benefit to you or not, because if Saturn specifically is giving high scores for you when it is transiting over Capricorn, and then see for yourself whether the interpretation has been absolutely right or not. You will find that when you interpret the Ashtakvarga in line with the Lagna chart and in combination with double addition, exaltation and yogas and dosha, then it's a more proper approach, it's a more balanced approach rather than looking at only one aspect of astrology and taking that as the final one. So friends, like this video, share this video, and please subscribe to my channel. And if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me, the links given below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend Astrologer and Guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.